Welcome back to Design Principle Overview. This is Principle 3, Proximity. So, proximity, simply put, is the term that describes how elements associated with one another should always be placed together. The goal of object relation in design space is to not ever overwhelm the user with content. That's what we get from the website. So the website gives us two examples where we have the times that doesn't square out its content boxes as clearly as this Globe and Mail webpage. And they argue that this is an issue of proximity insofar as ideas proximate to each other, right? So for example, a bulleted list is in relation to the thing that it describes and closed off in a way that this website isn't. In addition to using proximity to alleviate in audiences a feeling of being overwhelmed by content. Another thing that's important to think about, especially what this image highlights, is objects near each other are typically seen by users as a single unit, right? And so this poster does a really fun job playing around with a kind of proximity and then also contrast, right? So we get with this poster what designers and other types of theorists call a gestalt, right? So when we see this image from back, right, it forms a kind of fish. But when we look at the image, like zoom in, right, and see the image up close, it's made up of a bunch of tiny figures that don't necessarily go together. And while this is an example of an image that's an advertisement, it also made me think, and again, this is not the point of this piece at all, you might think about borrowing in your own poster this notion of proximity and like a playing around with contrast to communicate some sets of ideas, right? So for example, if you're illustrating Cohen's idea of arcs and archives through something like I don't know, Wall-E. There's a way in which organizing all of like the bits and pieces of the movie itself to form like a larger image might be something worthwhile. So, alrighty, that's it for proximity. Join me in a minute for design principle 4, and then that will be our last one.